Hello and welcome to the Business and Banking Dialogue Show, our bi-weekly show, which comes to you every Wednesday and Friday. Uh, a warm welcome to all participants across EPS channel in YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. This is your one-stop show, which gives you incisive analysis on a topic of interest, which is from the world of finance, payments, and technology. I'm KK, your host and moderator. Today, we have a panel discussion on the topic of UPI on feature phone, sorry. The topic of UPI on feature phone, is it a realistic expectation? Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we have addressed broadly two types of phones, the smartphones and the feature phones. The feature phones are the old type of phones which don't have these kind of apps that you are used to. So the question is, do we need that for the purpose of UPI? So in the panel today, we have the privilege of having two distinguished guests. Both have worked hard and created solutions on the feature phone. The first gentleman is Mr. Tarun Mohan. Mr. Tarun Mohan is the founder and CEO of Next Gen Telesolutions, and Mr. Prashant is the founder and CEO of UAPay. So we will put their slides in a moment. So while our digital team gets that slides and puts it up. So ladies and gentlemen, UPI is now doing over 1 billion transactions per month in India. You are aware of that. It touched 1.5 billion, in fact. However, this is a point you must note. However, less than 1 million of these are via feature phones. So while we are doing over 1.5 billion payments transactions, UPI transactions, less than 1 million of these are via feature phones. India is home to 500 million feature phone users. A majority of these users are among the low income segments and aren't being served by the plethora of smartphone based UPIs which you and me use. For this segment, feature phones are a great value for money than lower end smartphones. Usually, with fragile screens, poor battery life, and slow processing systems, cheaper smartphones are not suited for their lifestyles. So typically we are talking at the remote areas of, say, India. It's far and flung away, and it's not possible for them to afford smartphones. So let's put up there right in front of you. You have the profile. So we have Mr. Tarun Mohan. Mr. Mohan is a silver medalist engineering graduate from the Indian Institute of Technology, IIT Delhi. Okay, he is he has been an entrepreneur, technologist, adventurer, and mentor, and possesses multifaceted experience in varied sectors of manufacturing, mobiles, payments, telecom, network, transit, and digital inclusion. At NextGen, Mr. Mohan has been ambitiously innovating and redefining mobile banking and payments across the globe with a core focus on adding security and encryption capabilities to mobile devices, enabling secure transactions on any device. He has worked before with Mobisoft Telesolutions. He's also worked with ITIDA, CAT services. So that's the career profile of Mohan Singh. Can we have also of Prashant? Yeah, there you have Prashant, founder and CEO of UAPay. Prashant started UAPay with a vision of making mobile digital payments banking services easier for the average Indian user without depending on the internet for digital transaction. That's the topic of today. UAPay is one of the few startups in the world which is fostering financial inclusion at the grassroots level globally. So they started in Udupi district and they have gone places since then. Prashant holds a PG MBA finance degree from MSRIT, Bangalore. So Welcome to the show, Mr. Mohan and Prashant. I hope I'll call you Mohan. That's good enough, right? Is okay, right, Mr. Tarun
Call me
Mohan?
Tarun. It's easier. Call me Tarun. It's
Okay,
easier.
Tarun. So Tarun and Prashant. So thank you. So Tarun, let me
Okay,
come with
okay,
the
okay.
first question to you. Yeah. First of all, welcome to the show and good evening
Thank
to
you
both
very
of you.
much, KK. Thanks,
Thank you.
KK, for the opportunity and hopefully positive discussion with everybody. Look forward
Absolutely, I'm
to
sure.
working a roadmap out for the country.
Absolutely, I'm no doubt about it. So, Tarun, one of the large corporate houses. Today, we're talking about feature phones for digital payments, right? So, one of the large corporate houses has announced to soon launch smartphones within the price range of a feature phone. Okay, which means the current set of people who are having feature phones can easily switch over to that. Then, do we really need to fret at making UPI available for feature phones?
Okay, thanks, KK. Let me give a background to mobile phones. There are two types of mobile phones. I would put them as smartphones, data enabled, and non-smartphones. You could have a smartphone with no data SIM. So it basically works as a non-data SIM or non-data phone and comes in the category of a feature phone. Let's put it into categories of a smartphone data enabled and a non-smartphone which is non-data enabled. Now, this segment has a huge volume, 450 plus million. The basic requirements of these customers are a battery life and
Yeah.
then ease of use. A touch screen, sometimes you and I get foxed, a wrong button is pressed, something else dials up.
Mhm.
The complexity of a UI in a smartphone is too much for these people to handle in the urban area, semi-urban and rural areas. So they have three hesitations. A is complexity of use, B is battery life, and the C is phone reliability. A smartphone today is a year and a half works.
Yeah.
A
Mhm.
non-smartphone, 10 years. Some Nokia phones still work today.
Yeah.
And then also comes in affordability. If
Yeah.
they can make a phone affordable, we still have a roadblock of battery life, reliability, and the complexity of the ease of use of a feature phone. So it's going to remain. This segment will remain, and it has to be addressed.
Okay.
So whatever you may do, I don't know. I've been a mobile telecom background for the last 25 years. I've
Yeah.
been saying for the last 5 years, non-smartphones will remain. People said no, it will go off. We still are adding 12 to 14 million phones a month, so it will remain
Oh,
and
okay.
needs to be addressed.
Are we saying 12 to 15 feature phones?
12 to 14 million phones a month are being added on feature phones every
Wow.
month in the country today. So
Okay.
150 million feature phones come in every year in the country.
Okay.
So
So
that's a
you
huge segment.
mentioned that it's the new kind of new smartphones are a little difficult for them to handle. Really, I don't. Are they? I mean, I think we are oversimplifying things. I think they are smart enough. They know what to do. But somehow we have this feature. Oh, they can't. So instead of pin, let us give them biometric. How and nobody uses biometric. They know the pin very well.
Okay, if you go to the village also and in semi of the rural areas, take an ATM card. Now, in a village, you have one person who will go to the bank, who will take a bus and go to the ATM counter or go to the bank branch. He'll carry 50 ATM cards with him. They all have a common PIN 9999. He'll
Yeah.
go withdraw cash and bring it back. Okay, so a pin in that segment holds no relevance to anybody. They want a thing which is trustworthy, simple to use in their language and trustworthy. They don't trust. Today we have cases all over the country happening. OTP hijack ho gaya, mera paisa nikal gaya. No.
Mhm.
So this is what scares those people. So what I also suggest is I've done some homework in the rural areas, and these customers need a lot of hand holding to be brought onto the digital payment ecosystem. I'm sure Prashant can share more views because he's also been working in the rural areas. They
Yeah.
need a local language support, ease of use, and a hand holding. Maybe an assisted service for the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Try it out. Please try it. Nothing will happen. And then ease of onboarding. Now, if you see a UPI onboarding process, it requires an ATM card. In
Mhm.
that segment of semi-urban and rural areas, ATM cards are inactivated.
Hmm.
So we have to, change the onboarding process from an ATM card to something else.
Okay. Yeah.
So
And
I don't know.
also,
Prashant can share
yeah,
more.
and
Prashant,
also
yeah.
one more. Yeah, I want to add some more thing here. Like people in the rural, especially from tier three below cities, people are not tech
Yeah.
savvy, and even they are not educated. So because see, currently data is free because daily they can access 1 GB data, but most of the data is consuming for entertainment, not for the
Yeah.
financial awareness or education purpose. Because see, what exactly happening, like as Tarun said, onboarding the customer need to be very easy. Like currently in the UPI platform, it required ATM. So regarding this Jandan account, almost 400 million accounts is open. Almost 20% of the account is dormanted. It is not active. Okay, and the second part is like currently they are focusing on this traditional banking system, but it is not convenient. For every financial transaction, they need to travel bank, and accessing the banking in rural market is very difficult. They need to travel 5 to 10 miles. Even myself, even I'm having a bank account in HDFC banks. I need to travel 18 kilometers to access the banking service. So I went with
Hmm.
the mobile banking services, but internet is one of the biggest challenges. Like in the rural, internet is one of the biggest challenge where people do not have access for that. And even feature phone is like most of the people are using feature phone just for call handling, just that's it, not for any other purpose. So and people in the rural market they are not aware of this technology at all. If I go to rural, okay, if you ask for UPI, they'll ask that what is that. If I say
Yeah.
Beam, okay, they will understand that okay, the Beam has did a some kind of a awareness program and all. So we need to do an awareness program in the rural market and also what are the
Exactly.
do's and don'ts. By this way, we can
Yes.
attract the customers and we can get in these people into the digital footprint.
Absolutely. So, like both of you, I was in TCS and I started the financial inclusion yeah, vertical in TCS. I have also traveled, but places like South India, I was like, I mean, they knew much more than most people know about financial inclusion, how to use a ATM card, how to use the biometric and everything. Maybe some parts in North, yeah, they were not as so. My experience has been varied on the inclusion, and I think they are pretty smart. They maybe awareness. If there is a awareness built or education
Yeah,
of
the
how,
the
I think that
education and
will
the
make it
handholding.
much better.
Education,
Yeah,
the
some hand holding is
handholding,
required.
yeah, is
Yeah,
required because one
yeah,
can't make it a self-learning system over there in that segment.
sure,
And
sure.
also, KK, I will also bring forward is Northeast, Himachal, Uttaranchal, Jammu and Kashmir. They don't have data in the mountains. It's very
Hmm.
sporadic. So that's a large segment which is completely left out of our digital inclusion ecosystem.
Oh, really? Okay. Mm. Okay, yeah. Still, we have I think a lot more to do. Though Jandan has given us that kind of penetration and digital push, but still, I think it's not 100%. I guess, right?
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. So Prashant, there are over 400 million users of feature phones, approximately,
Yes.
plus minus 10% should be there. As per reports available, the industry is yet to extend the facility of making payments using UPI rails to this vast segment. Can we hope for a breakthrough?
Of course, because uh, see, in the banking transaction, first of all, we need to build a trust in the mind of the people. So
Yeah.
what exactly happening? Some of the people in the rural area they don't trust mobile banking and all. They think that the money will be stolen from the bank, hacking and all everything. So if you look at the half a billion population currently in India, they're still using the feature phone. But if you look at the trend, like every person in the rural area either having either smartphone and even the feature phone, and there's a dual SIM is almost most of the people having it. And getting the SIM
Mhm.
is not that tough right now because one person can have a multiple SIM activation is possible. But if you look at that Indian scenario, like infrastructure is one of the biggest challenges. Going to the look and corner of the country is not that easy because there should be a proper infrastructure has to be integrated. Right now, it is not there, but it will take a time. By another 5 to 10 years down the line, people can access the digital platform either by the smartphone because the smartphone penetration also going up, and and even the people, even the feature phone also is going. Like I think Tarun is already told, like every month we are seeing almost 15 million the handled importing is from the multiple countries. So what exactly we can say here, like so UPI is one of the game changer. Like everyone is looking for UPI because it's the instant transaction, convenient. Instead of using these IFSC, bank details, mobile banking, networking, they can use just a kind of a virtual ID. They can do instant transaction. But what are the major challenges we identified? Like people in the rural, so they do not have most of the people do not have a bank accounts. Like 20% of the population do not have a bank accounts right now, and UPI need a banking like mobile number has to map with the bank. So if the people having multiple SIM, so they do not know how which mobile number has to be mapped with the bank. So sometimes people use Airtel SIM or Geo SIM, multiple SIMs. They will map Geo SIM with the bank and Airtel SIM with the normal transaction or normal communication part. So the UPI works with only one mobile bank and even the one the SIM mobile devices. So that is exactly one of the things. So hopefully we can say that UPI is a game changer. I think we can extend these UPF services for this next 400 million users. We can see that growth maybe another couple of years. But currently there is no solution available in the market. Of course, most of the companies are getting into this market because there is a huge opportunities available.
Okay. So, Torrin, what is the solution that you have, your company has on the feature phone?
Well, I'd like to make it a little more generalized, KK, and introduce and bring to the audience a little wider range of solutions. They have been solutions proposed using USSD by NPCI, launched star
Yes.
hash 99 5 years ago, but it did not take off because a customer at that end is looking for a simplicity, convenience, and also it should cover my basic services of a P2P, P2M, and also bill payment.
Mhm.
And every region in India has to have a local language support and also customized to that region. Like
Mhm.
you know, like you see a mobile app. Like my
Yeah.
mobile app is customized to my own service. I have my own preferred payees there. I have my own preferred billers there. I can also customize my own preferred merchants over there. But in
Yeah.
the existing USSD application, this was not possible. So, everybody had to go through a very cumbersome process of a back and forth session based transaction. And you lost
Mhm.
session, and each session was expensive. Rupee and 50 paisa was the cost of a session. So USSD
Yeah.
never took off because it wasn't convenient, too cumbersome, and too expensive. And not local language, not local customized to a service. We have had NPCI conducting various contests and challenges looking for the solution. Somebody proposed that they'll work with the handset companies and build the USSD menu in the handset itself. The telcos proposed to build, a menu in the SIM. But then a
Yeah.
telco offering a banking service and a bank offering a banking service, customers, frankly, in the rural areas don't trust a telco. They trust a bank.
Mhm.
If you go to
Yeah.
a rural area, they only trust four people. A villager will trust four people. He'll trust the
Yeah.
postman, he'll trust his LIC agent, he'll trust his school teacher, and he'll trust the bank manager. He doesn't trust a fifth person. This is my
Mhm.
homework in the rural areas. So the telco is a zero trustworthy. We have had instances of telcos misbehaving with customers, so the trust rate is zero. It has to be
Okay.
brought in by a bank in the mobile phone to
Yeah.
build the trust and the confidence, and then also the customized services of to a customer. So there have been services on USSD did not take off. We've had people proposing inbuilt menu in the handset. Okay, it could be one handset model, two handset models. We have 500 million phones in the market. How do you do backward compatibility? So we've
Yeah.
built a solution which is like a slim SIM or a thin overlay, which is a small chip, a memory chip you put over the SIM card. If you all know feature phones, you grew up 20, 15 years ago. You ever heard of a SIM toolkit menu, an STK menu? You
Yeah.
can go on a handset and look at an STK menu. It's there in every handset, every SIM card has it. So it's
Yeah.
basically powering the STK menu by a banking organization.
Yeah.
And this then gives you, flexibility in language, localized services, menu, and a banking service. Like I'm sure in the rural areas, the customers trust an SBI more than anything else. They trust,
Yeah.
Punjab National Bank, the PSU banks more than anything else. So if it's an SBI service or a PNB service, or even the local cooperative banks, local small banks you have.
Yeah.
They trust their services. So my take is that a banking service needs to be brought in by a bank, customized to localized services, language, flexibility, and giving the basic services of P2P, P2M, bill payment, and basic
Yeah.
banking. You're done. You are done. And this can happen,
Yeah.
well, in my opinion, with a combination of the SDK menu. Could be as a part of the local SIM card, or could be a small chip over the SIM card. We've been doing this chip over the SIM card, which then enables multi-language localized services. And we've been marketing it in Africa quite a bit. The uptake in Africa is much better than in India. So let's see in India how it takes off. But the last 2 3 months, we have seen customers, banks coming to us and saying, I'd like to explain, I like to evaluate the solution. So we said, here goes, go test it out, see what happens.
Yeah.
So I know Prashant
Great.
also has a solution available, which is a combination
Yeah.
of IVR and the OTP. So
So let's
Prashant
hear
can
from
Yeah.
discuss
Prashant.
more
What's
about
your
that.
solution, Prashant?
So actually, we are using the IVR mode. It's a voice interactive method where people has to dial the designated number. There is activities like what currently people using in the USSD technology. Same we provided in the voice technology. And the second part is like even for feature phone, we are providing the encrypted SMS data that will secure these complete transaction details like so we need to protect the customer data. That is important, like right, whenever digital things are moving in a very fast way, even the hacking, data privacy, data leakage, everything is in happening in the same mode. So we need to protect the user data. So considering these the pain points, we have use the encryption methodology to communicate the data from end-to-end protocol. And even the voice interactive is like even we are having a rural vernacular, all the languages. People when they registered with any of the preferred languages, future communication will happen through the same languages itself.
Okay. So they talk to your office, or how does it work?
No, we having the auto recorded, like it is interactive. Like we have developed some system where whenever the user pressing the activities, automatically the voice narration will be updated. So it is like for example, if I choose Hindi languages, the same recorded will be updated, and because people will hear the things, and according to that he has to activate the buttons and pressing the button, and finally what exactly he need to do, like authenticate the transaction with the transaction pin. That is compulsory. So if the people share this transaction pin, anyone, because we are also capturing the mobile number, so that is one of the device fingerprint we are using it for every
Mhm.
transaction. So we can say that it's a much more highly secured
Mhm.
compared to this smartphone, because smartphone what allow bank whenever people download the application, you have to give a permission for many of the things like contacts, storage, and all everything. People don't trust it, right? That is one of the things. But in feature phone, there is no SD card, there is no digital mode. Everything happens through this kind of a voice technology. So there is no permission is required. But people has to aware only in the space of like sharing the pin with some third party. That is one of the
Yeah.
things we need to take care of that.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. So my next question, Tarun, is that you said that there are almost every month we are getting millions of feature phones coming into the market. So people are continuing buying them, though they know that the smartphones are much advanced features. But yet, so that population is continuing to grow. So, what do you think are the key essential requirements without which UPI adoption on feature phone will see an accelerated takeoff?
Basic requirements is onboarding. How do I
Yeah.
get a customer to adopt UPI? So the current system of using an ATM card with an ATM pin does not work because most of these customers don't have an ATM card activated. PMJDY gave an insurance scheme as a part of the
Yes.
debit card. So if you go to the villages, I have seen in the villages they have framed the ATM card on the wall. That's my insurance cover. So you
Mhm.
have people who, if you go to the village, you see a completely different world over there. It's a completely different world. So A is, I can't have my ATM card being used as an activation for UPI. It has to be simple and secure and menu driven, local language, local customized services.
Yeah.
And then it has to cover my basic requirements. They only want bill payment, which is mobile and electricity. Very rare. There's no water payment in the villages. You don't pay for water in the villages. You don't pay for gas in the villages. You don't pay for land. Almost there are no landlines in the villages. It's only a mobile. You have to pay for DTH. You have to pay for electricity. Okay, because
Yeah.
electricity is billed over there. Besides this, you may have other merchant payments, like I have my Kiryana store in the village. You always have two Kiryana stores, one vegetable store, two vegetable stores, and you only would have one store which sells you your, the larger villages electricity appliances, TV, electric heater, fridges, all those things. So you're limited to it, not more than 15, 12, 15 merchant payments. And then my
Yeah.
P2P. Invariably, a father will receive money, or a family in the village receives money. He doesn't send out money unless it's a largest landlord or largest farmer who may send money to his sister or his brother in the village. The basic services should be covered in this UPI service. That's it, nothing else. I don't think anything else is required over there. You don't require fancy, you know, things like what we have, monthly savings, EMI. The
Yeah.
villager says he does not trust a loan. He says, "Paisa hai main
Mhm.
lunga." He does not trust
Correct. Correct.
EMIs. He says, "Paisa hai
Okay.
main
Okay.
lunga." I'll pay full money and come back home. He may take a
Yeah.
loan from the local village artiya, or the artiya or the local landlord, say for a marriage,
Mm.
or say for a medical expense, or say to buy fertilizers. But besides that, he'll never go and buy a fridge on an EMI. He'll never go and buy his vegetables on. What he may also do is that, they always have an account with the local village grocer. They pay him
Yeah.
once a month, some pension may come in. That's how they work. But they will never do an EMI. So basic services are what's the need of the hour on UPI. This is what my opinion is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Prashant
Prashant, your
can,
thoughts? Yeah. Your thoughts, Prashant?
Yes, of course, like basic services, as Tarun said, the recurring payment, electricity is a recurring payment. So we need to facilitate that in our system, and even the mobile recharge. Even the rural people, they do a 50 rupees, 100 rupees recharge, but it is like they go for a talk time because people, feature phone do not have a data, so they cannot access any of the digital platform. So they use
Yeah.
mobile only for this mobile recharge, like top up plan. So we need to provide access for that. And other than that, like the merchant payment, whenever people go for any of the shop, kirana shop, maybe they're going to the petrol bunk, fuel station, so they will fuel the fuel station also. We can encourage the feature phone payment so that they can fill the fuel and they can yeah, these are the way in the purchase PTM, like PTM, like all the kirana shop, vegetable shop, and even with this the fuel station, we can enable these services. So majorly three part we can say that. And even for the P2P transaction, like I want to transfer money to someone, so we can enable that also feature, that features also in the feature phone. That is possible.
Okay. Okay.
can
So,
I add one more? Let me add one more point over here.
yeah, Tarun, go
Uh,
ahead.
he always wants a cash out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
capability. I forgot to add that. So you have, like, you can do cash out against at an agent point using UPI. That is a must in a village, because he just can't, he's not 100% digital at all today coverage.
Yeah. Yeah.
He can
Absolutely.
do 30%, 20%, then grow on to 40, 50%, but he still wants
Yeah.
at least 50,
Cash.
60% as cash. So cash out at UPI is a must
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
an agent
And
Absolutely.
point.
people in the rural, and also they want to feel this currency note, feel and touch. That is required.
Yes.
So that is one
Yeah.
of the things we are observed.
I think urban also is similar. We don't carry a purse without a currencies. So,
Yeah.
so, so okay. Now, Tarun and Prashant, as I said, we could get questions on the Q&A box. So it's more of a chat questions, which I ask, or somebody may want to ask a question directly. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, you can do that both ways, as you are aware of it. And so let's begin with a direct question. This question is coming to you directly from one Mr. Debashish Chakrabarti. Debashish, could you please unmute yourself and ask the question? Also mention whom you want to ask the question.
Hi, I'm Devashish. I have been on the advisory board of UPI for the last 2.5 years. So I have seen the journey of UPI in the last 2.5 years. So it's a real proud moment for me to see Prashant on this platform. I'm talking about it. It's not really a question because I've been through this journey myself with him, uh, and have seen and pitched to multiple investors and partners across India and across the world. So one thing I just wanted to mention is what we are seeing in terms of financial inclusion in the villages today. It reflects me back to the early stages of e-commerce in India, when 95% of the transactions used to be cash on delivery because there was little trust on online payments and credit cards. So compounded with that problem is the lower level of literacy in our villages, which is actually creating compounding this problem as well. So it's a huge problem to solve, and kudos to Prashant for taking this initiative up. And thank you so much for hearing me out, Tarun and KK.
Welcome.
No problems.
Just a mention,
Absolutely.
and everybody says Geo is going to bring the tsunami of internet. We don't see that happening, and it is being proven time and again in these kinds of conversations which we are having. Thank you so much. This is just
Thank
I
you,
want.
Devashish. Thank you
Thank you, Deba.
for your observation. Thank you very much for coming and giving your observations. Okay, let's take another question. Harish Prabhu, a very experienced banker. Harish, can you shoot out your question? Unmute yourself.
Yeah, so prior to the advent of UPI, which is primarily a smartphone feature, right? IMPS was fairly successfully rolled out on feature phones, specifically, the domestic money transfer, for migrant labor and all. They were successfully doing that, let's say a rickshaw driver in Mumbai to send money to Bihar, etc. and all that. Now, why can't be UPI rolled out similarly? What are the technological and implementation challenges? If anybody can take this up.
Okay, so yeah, I just want to answer this question. So currently, what exactly happening in the UPI? It works on a virtual ID. Like if you're having a multiple banks, your multiple virtual ID will be created. But there should be a system like whenever user do a transaction in the feature phone, he has to select some which virtual ID, which bank he has to do a transaction. That facility currently it is not possible. It's not like it is not interoperable. For example, we having a solution called UPI. So we are enabling the UPI solution for feature phone, where we can access, we can provide an opportunity for customers only through UPI platform only. We cannot give access for other UPI IDs like even Google Pay, OK ICICI, OK HDFC or YBL. So these are the things. This is one of the biggest challenges in UPI. But currently, NPCI is working on providing the solution for interoperable. If that is done, I think it can be accessible for all the population.
Okay.
Also,
Thanks, Harish.
Harish, let me add to it.
Thank
Currently,
you.
see, a UPI on a smartphone is very simple to deploy. Make an app, have it downloaded, it starts working. Build the backend encryption, get it cleared with the NPCI common library, and you're ready to go. In a feature phone, there are a lot of more technology challenges to enabling an app or a service on a phone. There is no memory. Typical phones have 20 or 40K of spare memory.
Yeah.
How do I also remotely update the application? Like when you have a UPI coming on a smartphone, you fingerprint the device, you pick up the device IMA number, you pick up your SIM and Z number, and then you encrypt everything and bind that UPI to a phone. So if you see that if you take an UPI, the same UPI VP on a second phone, to reinstall UPI, but on a feature phone, there's no way of picking up the device IMSI. There's no way of picking up the device. Okay, the IMSI is a SIM number. IMI is the mobile device number. There's no way of picking this up and remotely, mapping it to, binding it to a UPI VPA. So it presents a lot more technological challenges. And how do I remotely talk to a SIM using SMS? Now, SMS, if you see, okay, a little more of a technology background on telecom. What you have on SMS today on P2P SMS messaging is plain simple English text. On an operator console in a telco office, I can read your SMS full string, whether it is USSD or SMS, I can read everything. So your hash 99 messages, I can read them all. All I need to do is change the mobile number and change the PIN and the amount. I have your PIN. I have your bank account number, everything I have. So these are technological challenges which are a little difficult for a software company to understand. You have to have a hardware background and a telecom background to understand how do I handle a smartphone. So if you see today's smartphones, they all have a SD card slot, but that SD card is today only good for audio and video, because the manufacturers found that you can go do side loading. You take an SD card, go to a shop for 30 rupees or 50 rupees, he'll give you 10 GB of songs, he'll give you 20 movies. It's good for a month. 20 GBs is good for a month of video watching. Your songs are in unlimited songs. You go there every month and say update kar de. He'll replace the new songs with the old songs with the new songs. So the SD card also is only for media. It's not for apps, or it's not integrated with the application. So there are a lot of technical challenges in actually deploying a good foolproof solution for UPI. Now you go to a shop, you go to say a merchant, and you stand in the queue. You go to a small shop, a Kirana shop in your locality. You'll have 4 guys over there. Moment you say, अच्छा आप IVR भेजो या आप कुछ SMS पे भेजो, मैं करूँगा उसको, okay, जिससे साइड में हो जाओ, next customer please. His focus is cash rollout. Customer को निकालो जल्दी से counter से. It has to be simple. And the moment you say, tell the merchant owner or the shop behind the guy behind the counter, you initiate the transaction. कहता है यार तुम साइड में जाओ, कैश मेरे पास बाद में करेंगे. So it has to be a service initiated by the customer as a push payment into the merchant. You can't have him pull a payment into the merchant. You'll create a queue at the back. He'll say baad mein aana. So certain typical experiences in the merchant payment ecosystem in the villages has been experienced and understood by us. How do we solve it out? So it always has to be customer push. You can't have a merchant pull. So this thing. Now also, I don't know, yeah, we have enough of time. There's a very interesting use case of a self-help group in the urban, semi-urban and rural areas. I don't know how many of you have done some homework on self-help groups. It's a very, very popular, microfinance upliftment of small groups of people. And not in India, it's global. It's in Africa, it's very popular. So you pick up a bunch of 10 people, 12 people, 20 people, and 95% women. Men, no. Men will take the money and go and drink alcohol. So it's 95% is women. So they make a small group. Could be pottery, could be, small shop run by them, could be small services in the villages run by them. So they have a group of 10, 15, 20 people with 2 team leaders. And they go to a microfinance or even go to a small bank and take a loan. Now that loan comes into a special SHG bank account mapped to that SHG group. And all payments, any of those members can initiate a payment to the SHG approved merchant, but then it has to have a twin factor of authentication. Like it has to be authenticated by the team leader before it's pushed through. And then this issue comes in there is that if I'm doing UPI on that same number, one number has to map 2 accounts, my own personal account and also my SHG account.
Okay.
So, that is an SHG in India. I think they're close to, I was last told 120 million people are on SHGs in India, in the urban and semi-urban. So that's a very large opportunity, which we need to really build. And advantage there is, it's by word of mouth. You can do it. You can work downwards through the microfinance institutions, organizations, and each one does, maybe 10,000 or 8,000 SHGs. And that will be a very good way to percolate, educate that customer base and say, come on board, start digital payments and they'll help you grow. So that's one area which we've done some homework, but we identified that as a very good route to, penetrate and uplift the segment into a digital banking environment.
So Prashant, what are the payment needs that can be solved by having UPI on feature phones?
Currently in the feature phone, what we can do, one is P2P transaction that we can solve. Okay,
Yeah.
instead of going to the ATM, withdrawing the cash, and if you want to transfer money to, currently what people do, they will go to the bank, and they will stand in a queue and they will write either receipt book or maybe something. So this is one of the things we can eliminate that part. So it is like a convenient for the people where using the feature phone they can do a peer-to-peer transaction. The second part is like so we can enable some of the BBPS like bill payment services. As I said, electricity bill is one of the recurring payment every month. Every household has to pay that, and the mobile recharge is one of the things we can enable in the UPI part. And the merchant part, exactly like even merchant has to have some of the infrastructure, either
Mhm.
accepting these UPI. Currently, the debit card or the any of the card solution, it need to have a POS machine is required. So POS machine, again, you know that the affordable, like it has a cost. And second option is the QR code is there, where only smartphone people can scan the QR code and they can make a payment. But in case of a feature phone user, there is no mode is there. So we can provide some kind of a feature phone solution where he can make directly payment to the merchant on sale of goods, like using the IVR technology or SMS technology. So we can initiate these also services for this. So majorly, as I said, is a P2P and peer to P2M and the recurring bill payments. So that are the services we can enable in the UPI platform. Other than that, because people, the feature phone user, especially in the tied to below cities, so only as you know that 400 million users, if you say that almost 70 to 80% of the population belong to these are the regions. So we can enable, if you provide all these services, basic services in the feature phone services, then I think it will be added much more advantage for this population.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's take another question. Krishna Tripathi would like to ask you a question. Mr. Tripathi, could you please unmute and ask the question?
I have question for both the speakers, for Mr. Prashant and Mr. Mohan as well. Uh, as a fintech company, as a payment company, what are your expectations from finance ministers in the upcoming budget? Because a lot of fintech companies are seeking a closer integration with NBFCs and banks so that they can increase the financial inclusion. So, what are your expectations from finance ministers this time?
Prashant?
So yeah, one thing we want to say that like there should be some budget for financial inclusion. Like the fintech is there are some many of these fintech companies, they are serving this population. So as a startup, we know the pain points like to reach this population is not that easy because it required huge cost. Like digital marketing won't work. Everything happen through the physical marketing, either offline marketing. Okay, so there is one of the opportunity where we are, because the people are not tech savvy, we need to have a lot of financial education system. Like we need to have a financial awareness program. So this is one of the things required. But we need a local bank support. So because bank is currently having a lot of presence in the, especially public sector bank, they're having a presence in rural market, and even as
Yeah.
you know that post office savings bank, they are in every corner, every pin code. So we need their support to reach. Like we need to create awareness. Like after the awareness, only people get to know that what exactly the digital payment, what is the benefit of them. But the people who living in the city area, they will get to know that all the digital social media platform, they can see it. If you say it multiple times, they will try it. But in the case of rural population, it is not possible, and convincing them is very difficult, because if you try to fail in convincing in the first or the second time, then they will never use it. And most of the things is happening through word to mouth. So that is exactly we observed in the rural market.
Yeah.
What about Mr. Mohan's views? And if you could also help me with your views as a personal income tax payee, do you people seek some kind of tax concession, and do you think that it will help revive the consumption in the economy?
Let's keep the tax part of it out of this conversation. I won't like to, it's not the purview of this discussion. But I like to add on the incentive or the, or the support as expected, what we would expect from the finance minister in this budget. About a few months ago, 3-4 months ago, they made a small budget to to enhance merchant acceptance at the rural and the semi-urban areas. And the government has to think beyond a POS terminal. Government's focus only is a POS terminal. They can't think beyond that. So they have to think and think differently. Think technology. This attacking this segment, which today is only 1 million UPI per month, transactions per month, it has a potential to grow to maybe 400 million, 500 million. It is not a POS solution. It is not a QR code solution. It has to be a different technology approach. A is educating, as Prashant said, running a village to village campaign. Involve the post office bank. The post office payment bank is one of the best. They have 160,000 post offices across the country. And only 20% is urban. Rest is all rural areas, semi-rural and rural areas. Why don't we use the post office bank and say, and they have very educated and trustworthy postmen. I told you from the beginning, a villager trusts only 4 people, and a postman is one of them. He comes, reads your letters, money orders come through him, he writes letter for you. He is the most trustworthy person. Use him, exploit him. And I would rather say, put this corpus of 350 or 250, 256 crores, something they put together for this, put it in the payments bank. And we in the urban area will educate ourselves. We have, my driver has learned from me how to do a payment on the UPI. He's got a smartphone, he's learned that. But in the village, it needs hand holding. It needs building the trust, educating them, putting services on what they need, not what we need to push. No, it can't work, but we need to push. It has to be done the reverse way. Give them what they need, educate them, and then handhold them to come on the platform. This is my observation, and I would put it forward, maybe as a formal note, or if you want to do it, I can do it through you. But other than this, I don't know. Prashant says again, education, hand-holding, trust building up. That's what is really, the need of to bring this segment onto a digital India platform. Otherwise, they'll be left behind on the GDP growth.
And
thank you very
also
much.
one more thing I need to add here, like if you look at the Indian financial sectors like public sector bank, private bank, small scheduled bank, there is a cooperative bank is there. So we need to onboard this cooperative bank into digital platform. There where I think if you look at the current in India, there's almost 96,000 cooperative banks are there. It is reaching the nook and corner of the country. So most of the people in the rural, they're having account, they are maintaining the accounts in the cooperative sector bank. If you make this cooperative sector bank completely digital, then we can attract the local customer, like last mile customer into digital part. So it will be very easy. Like it is a rural enablers, we need to onboard it. So that is one of the opportunity we can take into the next level. I think by this way we can say that okay, we can tell the user, we can create an awareness program with these cooperative bank sectors.
Good point.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have a small point to add over here. Okay, can I add a small point to add over here?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Now we have the NUE licenses, being open to people for companies and companies and people submit to the RBI next month. I would really look forward to an NUE, taking on board this mandate of focusing on that segment. It's a completely zero segment. Why doesn't one NUE? I don't know. I've heard about 5 or 6 multiple companies, multiple conglomerates, associations coming together and pitching for the NUE. I would be happy if somebody says, leave the urban out. Let me focus on the rural areas and bring, focus on the postal bank to bring on board as a partner. Bring on board the MFIs who do the SHGs. SHGs, in my opinion, is a very, very, strong and a confident group because you're handling the women, and the women in the villages are more trustworthy than the men. And they are they learn faster because they handle money every day, and they handle the household expense every day. So that's my thought process. I could share it out, could be wrong, could need some edits also over there. Maybe that's one route to go ahead.
Not many men will like you, Tarun.
I don't know.
Okay, so I have an observation from Mr. Pushpendra Khandelwal. He says, sir, digital inclusion is not problem of rural area. I have seen educated people, particularly senior citizens, they do not believe in digital transaction. Surprisingly, they believe the transaction is complete when the entry is done in their passbook. So in my view, to create the confidence in the people that digital transaction is safe and in this bank, role is important. I have seen people having smartphone, but use only for phone to phone people. What is your view and strategy for this type of segment? Any of you? Tarun, can you go?
Prashant, you would?
So that's what, as I said, right? So there is a subsegment will be there like a senior citizens. So like these are the
Yeah.
population, they want to feel and touch these currency notes. And they want to follow this traditional banking system, like they want to travel bank, they want to stand in a queue. And like some of the population segment, we cannot convince them. So if you go to it, if you try to convince them, it will be going with
Yeah.
the adverse policy part. But there is a youth will be there. Youth, especially in the rural part, there is a focus part. So like people in the rural part, especially the youth target, the age between 18 to 40, I think 30 ages, we need to target that because these youth are either they're living in a rural part or maybe they coming to the city area. So I think for working related or maybe the job work related. So these people will educate this population, maybe family members. If you educate one of the family members in our household, so I think by this way we can create a system has to be developed.
Okay. Samvit Sahu has this. What will be the role of assisted UPI model for villages? Do you think it is possible to drive uptake of UPI in near future, given smartphone rise will still take some time? Tarun?
I answered this in the beginning. I said it has to start with building the customer trust, educating him, hand holding him for some time, saying laga do, try kar lo. And I would still say the postman or a local bank manager is the best person for this, or even a school teacher, because school teacher has taught in a village his father, his grandfather, maybe his children. So only 4 people are trustworthy in a village. You can go and do your own homework. I've done a lot of homework on this.
Yeah.
We should use
True.
this, one of these 4 routes, channels, highways, to at least educate them, build their trust, and build their confidence कि आपका पैसा कहीं नहीं जाएगा, ये मैप किया हुआ है इस अकाउंट में. Could be a postal bank account, could be a State Bank of India account, could be a PNB account, could be a PSU bank account. I would still say a PSU bank and those cooperative banks, the rural banks, RRBs, they are still more trustworthy with the people's, the money over there. And then they should use this corpus I've told you about, mentioned about. It came about 3-4 months ago, and they have been. But some people from RBI, I know Vishwas is also a part of that committee from Infibeam. So, they should focus on the rural. That's the way the gap and the whole vacuum is. Leave the
So
urban.
Tarun, the question there, you said about post office postman being a very trustworthy person, and I think that perhaps that is the reason why, or maybe one of the reasons why the post offices have been given the license to operate as a bank.
Yes,
But
that's the focus.
has it really made that difference?
Okay, so I have seen some numbers on AEPS from the postal bank, and the numbers are growing. The numbers are growing.
Okay. Okay.
And it's public. In fact, they're published by the Ministry of IT. Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, the minister, he publishes an article I think, numbers every month or so. So many transactions done, so many assisted mode, AEPS transactions done, number of transactions, volume of cash given out. He hasn't. It's a public number. It's a public number. So you've seen the numbers grow, and actually the postal bank is now getting. They began about 6-8 months ago on AEPS, and it's growing. I can see the numbers grow. So that could be a very positive sign that yes, assisted mode start. See, you can't handle 400 million people with assisted mode of services. You have to, wean them away and say now you come on to a self mode of, self-service mode. So I would still say that start with postal bank, start with assisted services, and then gradually help them out. And then you always have a postman, in a village, he visits a village once in 3-4 days, because he has a beat. Total villages in India are 600,000, and we have 160,000 postmen. I think there were total 600,000 postmen in the country, and they visit a village once every day, once every 2 days. So they always on call. They know him. They seen him come. He's trustworthy. No, he can't run away. Sarkari employee hai, kahin nahi bhag ke jayega.
Yeah, correct.
So I would say that
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you can. Sorry.
So you talked about the self-help group, and you
Yeah.
said that's one group. If you kind of focus, you will get a lot more traction because they are, as you said, the trustworthy people, trustworthy women in that. So what are the possible solutions that are possible for this segment?
Okay, an SHG basically gets a loan into an SHG account in a group. So if you make a group of say 10, 12, 15 people, you
Yeah,
you open it's called an SHG bank account. Could be with a cooperative bank, could be with a PSU bank, could be with a postal bank. I don't think India Post focuses much right now on SHG, but it could be a cooperative bank, could be a RRB, could be a PSU bank. So it would be then their focus being their main, the income comes mainly as cash today, and which is
yeah,
goes into the bank account, and they get the disbursement as a loan from the bank or the microfinance into the bank account. So their main requirement is bill payment, merchant payment.
mm,
That's the main requirement, but with a double factor of authentication. So if I'm a member of the SHG and you are a team leader, if I make a payment to say Prashant where I bought goods from, it has to go through KK. KK has to say yes, validate, only then it goes to Prashant. Without a second factor, Prashant will not get paid. So the TL, and there are always two TLs. It's not one TL, it's two TLs. So the
yeah,
whole group knows, and they're all they're very responsible to each other, because one person fails, the whole group falls down. They ensure that the group never fails.
right. So Prashant, you would have seen that in smartphones, there is a lot more customization done. The app can be customized depending on the requirement. How do you do how do you do it for a feature phone where you do not have that remote data connectivity capability?
See, in the smartphone, of course, we can do a lot of customization, like we can switch multiple UPI platform, UPI switch, or even we can select the multiple languages. But in case of feature phone, so we need to use either the voice technology. There is a one technology we can do that, and it's like the screen will be like whenever user dial the designated number, there will be activity will be presented, and people has to click on that particular activity to activate the button. So that kind of arrangement is
Yeah.
possible. But other than that, there is feature phone. There is no other services. I think what Tarun has said, he has a SIM overlay solution. So it's a SDK solution. So it's like when the people put a SIM overlay on the existing SIM, it will show the list of options. But if it should be have in the rural vernacular. Like otherwise, people don't know the even if it's prepared only for English languages, it will be very difficult to convince the customers. So even the voice technology is one of the way, and even second one is those SMS technology, and the third one what Tarun has said is SIM overlay. It is like a pre-uploaded system. We can integrate with the system so that people can see it and they can do the activities in a single platform.
Okay.
Yeah, so we built that in our overlay. We have it built of remote, configuration. We can update the menu remotely using SMS as a technology. We've built the whole platform using secure encrypted SMS, and
Yeah.
it's been tested by a lot of banks in Africa. And I'll tell you, we have two major partners there. If you read about the Moja Loop Foundation, Moja Loop is a foundation which is a joint body, promotion by Omidyar, Google, Gates Foundation, Rockefeller, Motorsbox, and Coil. And their focus is basically financial inclusion in the emerging markets. And Africa, Myanmar, Indonesia, Philippines is a very large. Central America and Latin America is a very large focus for them. And they are like what NPCI is to some countries. Like in Tanzania, the whole national switch is a Moja Loop switch. So Moja Loop is, and in Africa again is in some countries 90% is feature phone, and the best country is South Africa, which is 55% feature phones.
Mhm.
So those countries are a prime candidate for this solution. We also have one partnership with MiFos. So when you have Moja Loop, MiFos is also again a very large platform for microfinance. It has a
Mhm.
core banking and a microfinance. You can read about it. It's called mifos.org. And Moja Loop is a wrapper around MiFos. So MiFos is the core banking and the microfinance, and MiFos is a wrapper for P2P, P2M, cross country, bill payments, everything. So we have a very interesting partnership with them where we provide the technology as a secure bridge. We call it a secure
Okay.
bridge between MiFos and to the end customer on a feature phone, which is what they are taking live as the overlay.
So for the benefit of the audience, which is the site that you say that we should refer? Just spell it
I
out,
can,
please.
okay, MIFOS is Mother India France Orange Sugar .org.
Okay.
You
Okay.
can Mother
My
India
first.
France
Yeah.
myfirst.org and go look up Moja Loop, MOJALOOP. Moja Loop means money in Swahili.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is mifos.org and look into Moja Loop,
.io.
which is what.
.com
Yeah,
or .io or everything works. Everything works.
Okay.
.com.
Okay.
Go look at
I
it.
have
It's
a
very interesting.
yeah. I have a observation for both of you from all the way. It's come from London. Prabhakar Kaza. Morning, Mr. Kaza. So he's ex-CEO of SBI London. He says, not sure about this technology which expects the banks to cooperate with them when they are competitors for banks, technology and banks. India has 120,000 bank branches. In rural India, they trust banks and would like to transfer money only through banks. The same reason why people don't go to money service business in Western countries when they can go to banks. In UK, the postal services are beginning to suspend banking services. Any thoughts from any of you, both of you?
Of
Okay,
course,
so
like even yeah, so even some of the banks are feeling that most of the fintech companies competitor for them because
Yeah.
it's like onboarding the customers. Like if you're going with the rural market, it is like for a company like me. So we are into the payment platform, and we are going with the rural market acquisition of the customers. So we are completely removing this virtual bank concept. Like people currently focusing on this traditional banking system, they're traveling the bank. If you go with completely people going to the digital part, so there is no footfall will be there. So there is a transaction will be everything happen through virtual, right? Even people do not have access for the people do not go to the ATM to withdraw the money. Where is the cost? They are put a lot of cost on physical infrastructure. If the people are not using it, of course it will adversely impacting on the banking infrastructure part. So that's the thing. Most of the banks feeling that most of the fintechs are competitor for them, but some of the strategic partnership is possible where bank is only partnering with some of the fintech and they're using the fintech solution for extending their services for the last mile population. So Tarun, you want to add anything here?
yeah, I like to add, Mr. Kaza, good afternoon. Say good morning for you, maybe just lunchtime for you. Um, traditionally, if you see the mobile banking services, there was always a conflict between the banks and the telcos. The telco said, he's my customer. The bank said, no, he's my customer. And this friction never let mobile banking grow. Unlike only country it grew was Africa because Safaricom in Kenya owned 88% market share. And today I think it's still 83% plus. They have wiped out everybody else in Kenya from banking. Basically, it's become a virtual bank basically. Now they issue a Visa card to you. They issue everything to you. No other country has mobile banking being successful because there's no dominant telecom player in the country. In that country, it's always fragmented: 20%, 30%, 15% share. Nobody has been able to control the customer, which is why the banks in India have really never been able to go the the STK route or the SIM card, the SIM solution route. Now in our SIM overlay solution, we don't do it. It's a white label. We're only a technology partner. We aren't our own go-to-market partner. We white label it for any bank. We white label it for any PSP. We white label it for any microfinance. We don't do the marketing ourselves. We only prefer to be a technology partner and let the bank, like say in this case SBI, we're happy to partner with SBI and say take it forward. You be the go-to-market. We'll just power the technology for you. That's what our focus is. We don't want to be. It's too complicated to go into the feature phone segment and launch our own bank. But I also tell you that tomorrow morning in the future, you have digital currencies coming up and you have cryptocurrencies coming up. Now, if you read about what's happening today online, a digital currency, the banks no longer print physical notes.
Yeah.
A lot of banks in Europe are printing digital notes. They will transfer digitally money either through a DLT or just plain simple secure banking, secure connection to a bank, and we can transfer digitally. Now, how do you handle the future, like digital currencies or cryptocurrencies? You can only, and I always make a statement that a mobile phone was made only for voice and messaging. It was never made for secure transactions.
Yeah.
But going forward, even a feature phone, whether you take an Apple or you take an Android phone, you have to upgrade these phones to installing a secure element in the phone to handle your digital currencies and your cryptocurrencies. Like you read about a case where people, a person lost his hard disk. He lost some bitcoins in that. If he had the whole, the keys in his phone, and then it was a secure element in the phone, he would be happy man, becoming a millionaire today. $230 million, $273 million he lost as a hard disk gone. So, to think about, also what's the future going to hold for technology on mobile devices.
Okay, so Prashant, can feature phone users pay without or make payments without internet facility?
The feature phone, there is no internet coming into the picture. It's only the voice call. So I think only the smartphone currently without internet technology we have it right now. And feature phone we can work on the voice technology. As I said initially, the IVR technology is one of the best way, or maybe alternative is USSD, but USSD is not success in India because we are seeing almost it has a cost. And second one is it is not convenient for people like they need to type a lot. If there is any human error, then transaction get declined, and again he need to reinitiate the transaction. The best way we can say that either we can go with this IVR solution or maybe the SMS technology, encrypted SMS technology, not the plain text. And the third option is like SIM overlay is one of the best features. Like we can integrate SIM overlay in the SIM, and people can access the basic services in the platform. So even then, I think it will the SIM overlay technology, even that works, even this encrypted data protocol. This SMS is one of the basic things because the feature phone is the communication is one is the SMS or maybe the voice. So we cannot integrate data there. So it won't work there. Data is only for the smartphone itself.
Okay. Super. Well, we have passed almost 10 minutes, the 5 o'clock, the 1 hour. But if you're okay, can I take another question?
Yes, I'm happy.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
So the experienced banker Harish, who had asked you a question, has one more question to ask you. So Harish, go ahead. Harish? Okay, sorry, I think. So on that star 99, okay, however, it's not very simple, as you said. Then startups have come out with some solutions, to overcome that. However, there is no uptake in the payments done through such feature phones. Should we give up and focus on smartphones and hope for the replacement? I mean, it's not really working, correct? No matter what you do.
See, actually, there is a foundation. See, the USSD technology is nothing but it is just a dial network solution. Is the foundation is already there. Upon that, we can build, we can customize anything. Even the same technology can be used in the smartphone, and they can say that it works without internet connectivity. But what are the challenges like people have? There's a lot of typing will be there, so we cannot convert that dial network into we cannot skip that process. So alternative, I think alternative for USSD, I think there is a voice command is one of the safest way, and even interactive voice we can enable, and on the base of the activity people has enabled, so they can do a transaction. So that is the best way. I think USSD alternative solution we can say that is IVR is the best, and people can listen it and they can complete the transaction, and even it is very highly secured. We can.
Okay, so that works for feature phone as well as smartphone.
Yeah, it works anything. So USSD, in my opinion, we park it aside. Park it aside. In my opinion, I'm being very frank, because we've tried 5 years. We've tried. We've gone nowhere.
Yeah.
It's time.
Are there any new new solutions coming around feature phones that you're aware of?
I'll give you an example of Safaricom in Kenya.
Okay.
Okay. I do a lot of work in Africa. So, being hardcore telecom, background, I know
Sure.
Safaricom, I know a lot of networks in Africa. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Safaricom initially began as a USSD service. When they began 15 years ago on payments, they began USSD. So in that, the SIM menu, they had some basic commands given, pay, talk time, my balance, whatever. They put the basic menu on the SIM card. And that was initiating, it actually helped the customer overcome the first 2 or 3 levels of messaging.
Mhm.
And then after say 2 levels or 3 levels, then the customer had to enter his account number or enter the payee's beneficiary's mobile number. But in the last 3 years, Safaricom graduated from the USSD putting that whole thing in the SIM card. They put the whole menu and the encryption and the services in the SIM card itself.
Mhm.
Now that is where they realized that through USSD
Yeah.
they were having issues on encryption, on a secure OTP, and OTP comes into your SMS inbox. And today, when you install an application on the phone, it asks you permission to access your media, access your contacts. Though I don't know why do banks ask to access my contacts as a banking app. I don't know why. Then they ask you to access your inbox, SMS inbox, and outbox. And that's a major source of OTP hijacking. So Safaricom 3 years ago, in fact, I have a SIM in my office, a Safaricom SIM, where they put the whole Safaricom payments menu in the SIM card.
Okay.
But they could do
Yes.
it because they control 83% of Kenya's subscriber base.
Okay.
But in no other country, yeah, it was 88 when Airtel, and there was who? There was Airtel, there was Orange, there was Safaricom. There were 3, 4 players earlier, but now it's mainly Orange is shut down. Only Airtel and Safaricom are the 2 major players in Kenya, and everybody has a dual SIM. Safaricom is a must because then you
Okay.
can't handle M-Pesa. I can't handle M-Pesa,
Yeah.
and today Safaricom. You go read the numbers of Safaricom. It's bigger than it's almost like 30% of Kenya's GDP is on Safaricom. 30% of
Okay.
Kenya's GDP
Yeah.
is on Safaricom. So I don't think that there is anything else. Even the USS, they have shut down USSD, and I've seen some people in Nigeria use USSD, but again, limited services, limited services. So what happens in Ethiopia is USSD works there. What the banks have done is they have gone and partnered with the telco, Ethiotel,
Mhm.
only one telco in Ethiopia, and they pay him a flat monthly fees for USSD. The customer has no charge.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
So
Yeah.
unlike in India, every session you start, you pay rupee and 50 paisa. Whether it is
Mm.
good or not good, you pay rupee and 50 paisa. If it's dropped again, you restart, you again pay that money. So
Okay.
Ethiopia works like this. It's a flat fee. You can do as much as you want on USSD. So the customer cost is zero, and they had no choice. In Africa, there are no banks in the villages. They had no
Prashant, your
choice.
thoughts?
Yes. Yeah, and one more thing we can say that the inbuilt solution like feature phone currently there are many of the companies they are planning to develop a mobile platform. It is included app-based platform. So they are planning to integrate UPI in that system, the inbuilt
Mhm.
UPI platform. So if that comes, I think see people again what exactly happen if that mobile come into the market, people has to replace that mobile with the existing solution, existing mobile devices. So again, there's a cost will be there. So cost is one of the major factor. Like people can afford 1,000 rupees, 1,500 rupees, people can afford it. But people use this mobile phone only for dialing the call, not for other purpose. So that
Yeah.
exactly we are seeing it. So people they'll just call because in the future for no entertainment will happen. So only for dialing the call they'll use it. Otherwise they will keep it inside only. And the smartphone, of
Yeah.
course, Geo given make it in some kind of a revolution, but data even given up for free. But after that again people has to recharge, right? So getting that access data they need to recharge 149 rupees. So recurring payment will be there. It is a cost. People will not bother about that because initially when the Geo given for 3 months, 6 months free, people are Googled YouTube. I think they have searched every videos in the YouTube and even the Google. They search completely Google part. They've seen everything. It's completely entertaining part. So no one worried about the financial because they're comfortable
Okay.
with this traditional system. It is convenient for them.
True, 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 true. Absolutely.
But it will
So
take a
one of the
time because
things,
maybe as I
yeah,
said another 5 to 10 years down the line and
yeah,
another 5 to 10 years down the line it will get impact because people want to make it convenient for them. completely
Yeah, that's
convenient
correct.
for the people. So they will get into the digital platform.
Yeah, true. One of the problem with the feature phone is that the number of characters are limited to 9 or 10 characters. If you were to have some kind of setup which kind of connect to a bigger screen, maybe payments will be, like a smartphone is good for part is that you can have a lot more characters. Have a gadget which can put on.
If you increase the screen size, the price goes up. So right now, if you see all feature phones, they work on a 2.5-inch screen. So screen in a phone is a diagonal the diagonal size. You say 5.5-inch screen, it's from this corner to this corner. So all feature phones are built on a 2.5 or a 3-inch screen. You increase screen price, the price goes up. And then you have to have a larger, so then the cost goes up, your graphics processor power needs to grow up. And so all those things, so they've optimized the cost vis-a-vis the basic facilities. You do have some phones which have up to 14 characters per screen, per line of display.
Yeah.
It goes to 14 today, the larger feature phones. But 9, 12, 11 is what is more or less prevalent.
Yeah.
So, well, so the question comes in is again, you got to type easily. And then, feature phone typing is not like A, B, C, D. You got to go, A means, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, it starts with A. So if you press, long press A, 1 is, star, or long press 2 is A. So you go like that. So it's a little more difficult, but those guys in the village are perfectly at home with it, They're perfectly at home with typing like that.
Thank you.
So I don't think
Tarun and Prashant, I think we can, it's just a very interesting discussion. We can go on.
I'm happy.
And I love this kind of discussion because anything on the financial inclusion is something that is up my go. But, we have to look at the time. It's almost 20 minutes past 5 o'clock. And so I want to thank you for coming over, spending such a wonderful time talking to both of you. So interactive and so,
Thank you.
information that you have given to all of us is fantastic. So thank you very much for coming, spending time with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking both Tarun and Prashant for coming and talking to us. Prashant, thank you, and Tarun, thank you very much.
Thank you, KK, and thank you for listening to us.
Oh no, it was wonderful.
Thank you, KK. Thank you, Tarun.
Yeah, thanks, Prashant. Thank you for coming on board.
Yeah.
Thank you, and thank you, EPS, for this opportunity. Thank you, EPS.
Thank you. Okay.
I look forward to more coming. Good. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.